Roleza and Christal. But before we greet you, we just have a housekeeping matter here. The 2023 Flow Lions Club South Public Speaking Competition. The zonal preliminaries of the 2023 Flow Lions Club South Public Speaking Secondary Schools competition concludes today, September 29th at French's House. Students in Zone 4 will meet to debate the topic. The upsurge in interest in space is fast becoming a preoccupation of the rich and does absolutely nothing to improve human condition on Earth. WeFM will bring live coverage of the event from 1:30 p.m.
Yeah, and I actually looked at part of it yesterday with the students. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I was
You say you looked
interested.
at part of it yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, it was good.
Nice. I wish them all the best. All right. Let me say good morning to those across SVG and the rest of the world, those who are locked on overseas, those who are locked on who listen online, who listen by the website, your vehicle, wherever you are, however you're listening, top of the morning to you. Now, it's an interactive program, so you can always reach out to us and join this morning's discussion. Various topics, of course, via the WhatsApp at 4579994. Even call us at 4579997. Remember to keep it short, sweet, to the point. Don't be rude. Don't be disrespectful. And no lies. All right. Now, let's see where we could start this morning. Oftentimes, we disagree or we find ourselves on the, let me say, negative side or negative receiving end with maybe a small business, medium or large. Sometimes we might receive a product that we didn't like. We didn't like delivery. We didn't like customer service. We didn't like the product, something, whichever. Every interaction between customer and business owner or business will not always be perfect. So I had a particular experience. Now I'm thinking about this story. There's this snack that I really love. that I really love. And it's called Nuggle. Some people might know it. And very recently, I purchased, and I wasn't pleased with the way it tasted. It tasted very different to me. So me being, me, I looked at the back of the packet and I emailed the company. And I told them how I
She's serious
felt.
about her knuckle. Yes, Christal,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
serious about my nuggle, okay? I emailed the company. I told them how I felt about it, and that it was one of my favorites for a very long time. And of course, I thanked them for providing wonderful snacks to the region and encourage them to continue. It can be all negative at
Started with the
some words,
positive.
right? Everything was mixed in there. And within a matter of hours, I got a response, an apology, and a thank you. And I was referred to the local distributor.
Right. So this you had was that it wasn't tasting the same, was
It
it?
wasn't tasting the same to me,
Okay.
right? Because I eat it quite often. So any slight change, I'm going to notice. So I noticed something different.
So a little bit less sugar
When
this time. Maybe it was less nuts. You detected it right
It
away.
was different. Let me just leave it that way, right? It was different to me.
where's Nuggle based?
Is it Jamaica? Charles Chocolates.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
brand.
Oh, okay.
So referred me to the local distributor who contacted me. And we had a little conversation, and they apologized and they thanked and so on and so forth. I was very satisfied with the way they dealt with it. So shout out to Facey Trading, located in my area as well.
Glyn?
Glenn, please pronounce it properly. Glenn is the surname. Thank you very much.
Lord.
So it's Glyn?
Y'all are always going to be like this.
No, Glenn. Yeah.
Every time Glenn is
Anyways,
mentioned, you are going to be
anyways,
like this.
anyways. Some companies, some people. Let me start with people. Some people, when they disagree with either a product or a
Or
service,
dissatisfied.
they rush straight to social media to complain, blast the company. And I often felt that was not the best route. You try to contact the company, and if you're not satisfied with either response or they don't respond to you, then you have all right to do whatever you do on social media. Some companies, some businesses may shun you, they may be rude to you, they may not even respond to you. So they get another plus for actually responding within a matter of hours to my email. Um, sometimes let me leave that out. Sorry. But shout out to the entire staff. I know that they listen. I know that they listen. So you know, have yourself a wonderful day today. All
Yeah,
the best.
but I think, but I mean, so yeah, so I'm happy that your matter was dealt with, but I think even here by extension, there's a bigger issue that you just very very briefly touched on and glossed over because as Krista was saying that most times when persons are dissatisfied, their first reaction is to put a company on blast, especially on social media, right? And persons don't realize. So yes, it can harm a big business, but it's also especially detrimental to a small business because you tend to have some individuals who may take everything that you say wholesale and think that this is the standard of a particular business where it may have just been a situation between you and that customer or that business person at that particular point in time, right? So there are times when I believe that, you know, try to speak with whoever it is, the owner of the business, the manager, the customer service agent, whoever. Speak with that person first. Try to see if you can get redress before taking to social media, because especially if you have a large fan base or a large following, you know, you're going to have probably a stigma attached to the company that may not be fair to them.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
sometimes, and I'm sorry, but it's just maturity. It's just
Yeah.
a mature thing to do.
It
You know, if I
is.
have a problem with Christal, I tell Christal first before going to social media to put Christal on
Or
blast.
even going to
The
somebody
social
else.
media force.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And even the sort of personal touch too, I really appreciated. They followed up, and there was multiple persons who followed up. It's
Okay.
like, did you get your stuff? Like, were you happy? I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
Top-notch
I
customer
got
care
chocolate.
Right.
The
and
entire
PR.
staff got chocolate too. Say, hey.
Thank
That's where the chocolates came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I got the catch
Oh, it rolls my.
because, just because.
He thinks he's a cat.
What else is on
He
the agenda?
enjoyed his catch.
He wants to move on so quickly. He wants to move on so
what
quickly.
is on
But
the
honestly,
agenda?
it's something to learn for other small businesses and other customers as well.
And that's the thing, customer service is so important. You
It
think your
is.
product by itself is what sells? No, it's really customer service.
That communication there. All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, next item on the agenda. This one is quite unfortunate. An elderly, well, the body of an
Oh.
elderly man was found on Thomas Island.
Thomas Island, which had both Crystal and I wondering. So initially, when I read the article, I was like, Thomas Island, where's Thomas Island? But then I see Thomas Island, St. Vincent, but I didn't see St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I was wondering if it was a different St. Vincent. But anyways, yeah, you know, so we're going to read. Well, I've seen it on multiple sites, but I saw it on St. Vincent Times as well. So we're going to read that article, right? Partially decomposed body found on Thomas Island, St. Vincent. So St. Vincent Police Department has initiated an inquiry into the finding of a partly decomposed corpse on Thomas Island, which is located just outside of Clifton Harbor, Union Island. So now we know exactly where it is.
Oh,
Clifton.
All right.
okay.
The corpse was found by a sea captain about 4 p.m. on Tuesday, September 26th, according to investigations. Russell Douglas, 73 of Union Island, was subsequently identified as the dead person. The corpse is taken to the Kingston morgue. The corpse will be sent to a postmortem examination to determine cause of death. And members of the public, if they have any information, you can contact 784-457-1211. All calls will be handled discreetly. The investigation is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Right,
A few things like stood out to me about that. Nobody missed.
And
There's
he's
no missing
73.
73.
Russell Douglas,
Nobody.
73 of Union Island, was subsequently identified as a dead person. So yeah, he's and he was already decomposing. So yeah, it's
But
What
then
if he's a
again,
shut in?
even that if you're a shut-in, then you should be checked even more regularly than
Yeah.
anybody else. Maybe it was a customary thing for him to maybe like go fishing or something. And
But as you still say, well, I guess it depends on the state of the decomposition of his body, but
this is partly
you
so.
still like what would it take for you to know that your neighbor is let's say missing?
Constantly checking up on them.
Yeah, but even like little things, like do we look at to see if there's light? Do we look to see if, let's say, a window is open? Do we let's see if there is movement within a house? Because it's also difficult for me to know that, let's say I live next to somebody and I haven't seen them for a while and there's no inquiry, which goes back to what you were asking. Didn't anybody miss him?
Yeah.
You know, so
But then I wouldn't really fault people for like not missing as well, because everybody has their own lives.
habits. Yeah.
And a day, there might be a day. Something might, okay, so you might be experiencing something every morning. You say good morning to somebody. The one morning you don't say it. The following morning after that, you don't realize it didn't happen because it happens every day. So you're thinking, your memory probably mixed up. Like, and you question yourself, did I say good morning to him yesterday? I'm not too sure. Maybe that might have happened. But they partly decomposed their, could indicate time, but it could also okay, so to get to a point of decomposition, time has to pass.
Right.
But because the place is so heated, there are environmental factors that can
could
speed up the rate of decomposition. So it may not have been that he's been gone for that as long as we might assume. But I going back to, by the way, condolences to the family.
And
Right.
friends.
And the community as well. But going back to it, it says off Union Island. Are you sure they're not talking about Frigate Island?
I really want to know.
But Frigate Island isn't by the harbor. It is, that's where it is, not Clifton.
The harbor is where? Clifton
Mm,
or Ashton? Oh, it says Clifton Harbor.
Yeah. Happy Island is what's there, but
And the Ashton Union Island ferry dock there too. And off there is Frigate Island. I don't know. I don't know anything about Thomas Island.
I would just admit that today's the first I've ever heard of Thomas Island. So,
same.
yeah.
Same.
Yeah,
No
not
idea.
even on the map, the official map that say SVG Tourism Authority would give out has Thomas Island.
Maybe
on it.
it's like a sand, what you call it, sandbar? Maybe it's just like those, when it's only sand there, maybe a palm tree or something, and the locals named it.
Do I have any
Maybe.
friends from Union Island, boy? I probably have.
we
We'll
Yeah.
figure
We
it
do.
out.
We do.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
All right. So we just want to say good morning to El Catha and Delroy, who have joined us on the live or who have been with us on the live. So good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning, guys.
Something else that popped up day before yesterday. Sorry we didn't get to touch on it, but there's a message there that somebody wanted us to read out at the
Oh.
top.
All right.
All
So
right.
this message says, it was good morning, Christal. Could you please read this? I was on air. Okay. So last Wednesday, the 20th at 7:15 p.m., a person driving a Suzuki Escudo hit my wall, causing extensive damage. This happened in Diamond on the main road just past Myers Hotel. They were heading towards town. If anyone knows of this inconsiderate person, that's me being polite. The vehicle must have some damage. My wall gets hit at least once or twice a year. Every time it's due to reckless driving. It has been reported to the Calico police. Something needs to be done on that piece of road. A few minutes before it happened, a young lady walked past. It could have been a lot worse. All right. And this was from Andy Bowman.
Listen, I saw ANN post Suzuki pileup. It looked like a Grand Vitara and a scooter and a Swift.
Oh, they're showcasing something.
So, Andy, it's possible that the post will probably in that pileup too. It's very rare that you find.
Depends on the day.
It's very, very rare that you find justice in a situation like that. A lot of people hit people, poach.
Yeah, but this is why
Wow.
I guess too,
Cameras.
cameras, right? It's not just about putting up cameras, let's say to prevent persons like thieves or whoever from entering your property. But in instances like this, especially when you live close to a main road, cameras are important so that you'd be able to at least identify the vehicle, trace the vehicle, etc., etc. So,
But oh gosh, man.
Aw.
You're driving, you get into a little something, hit somebody's wall. Just own up now. Just own up. Be responsible.
We're hoping, but even sometimes persons hit other people's vehicle. Like I remember there was one time I was coming out of a parking spot. Ooh, it's the only time it's ever happened. and in reversing, I hit somebody's vehicle. I knew who the person was, so I went to their workplace. It was already after 5 on a Friday. Yeah?
Big gangster.
And I tell you, my heart was in my hand because I don't want to go and tell somebody that I just hit their vehicle. And when I started talking, I saw the person face like, already getting upset and everything. But after, so we talked about it, and she took the vehicle to her mechanic, and her mechanic actually told her that, it's a good thing that it was somebody like me who actually came forward and said that I hit the vehicle, because I honestly could have just driven off and gone home, but it's little things, because I would want to be.
No, you did the correct thing.
Yeah,
you did the correct thing.
And there were no cameras in that vicinity at that time. They didn't have the
You
cameras
did the
in
correct
town.
thing.
So I legit could have just gone about my business like normal, but I mean, sometimes it's these little things like you coming out of parking spots and you see, like, I have seen scrapes on my vehicle.
Listen.
Wondering where they come from, but nobody going to say anything about it, But I think do unto others as you would like have done unto you. That's
in this
that's
economic climate, I was out today.
Yeah.
What?
Say that again?
What?
Oh, Jesus.
So, Roleza, what you did was correct. That's the gold standard. That is the standard right there.
That's the best thing
That's
to
the
do.
best thing to do.
I think what's worse is
Why are you
when
looking at me like that? It's
I
the
just
best thing
watching
I'm
you.
serious. I genuinely mean it. It's the best thing to do.
vehicles hit somebody and they just drive off.
And as you speak about that, it makes me wonder about the that case carnival weekend with the young man. And it has happened before. Someone who we used to see in passing, he had a really a big head full of locks, like what you call those bongoras. They would that kind of
The ones that look like it's just one.
Yeah, it's just one. So he used to be walking up and down on that road, and I think he got hit as well too. And nobody ever, well, I've never heard of anybody being arrested for that, So
Nobody's gonna come forward.
I don't know. How do you live with that though on your conscience? Doesn't it? Then again, I don't want to find out. I don't ever want to know.
It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah,
we'll take it as
yeah.
such. We'll take it as such. But I have nothing else to say on that. But please, obviously, you spend your money, you're trying to live in peace and to enjoy your life here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Lovely islands, by the way. And to have somebody destroy your property, your people, over and over and not come forward and take responsibility for that. Put in a camera, please, so you can catch the future perpetrators, because if it has happened before and you have not gotten any redress to it, if you don't do something else about it to put yourself in a better position to get compensation for it, then you're just going to become even more irate by it. Police could only do so much and ask people to come forward.
Yeah.
Let alone, some people might be so intoxicated, they know they hit somewhere, but they can't remember where they hit.
Listen, it's not on the list of topics, but something that we haven't touched.
Tell us, Ari.
The attack on the Cubans.
Okay.
That is really distasteful. And I feel like a lot
Cubans.
of it happens in the Georgetown area.
Georgetown has had 3. This is now the 3rd instance
Third or the
in
second?
Georgetown.
No, I thought it was the
second.
second. I thought it was
The
second.
Yeah, as we
Okay, we've been
enter the
thinking
weekend,
3.
please desist.
Kingston.
Please desist from attacking the foreigners.
But I suppose it's what caused it though. What's
That's a good question.
Nobody knows but the instigator.
Things like that very disheartening. It's very
and the thing of it is
disheartening.
that they've come here to provide a service to us. It's we welcome all persons. We welcome all persons. But when you have to have instances such as this, and what memory are they going to leave SVG with? So yes, they've encountered some very nice persons here and so forth, but when they leave SVG, this might just be the number one thing that stains their memory. And in conversation with others, you bring this up, and then persons are going to think that our entire country, they're going to probably just put a label on the entire country of us being a very violent society.
Yes.
And not friendly towards non-nationals.
So going from most recent to the previous, the last one was an attack where they lit a taxi on fire.
Hmm.
Yeah, where they lit a taxi on fire. Before that, a doctor was on his way home from the Calypso finals where he was attacked and I see cut about his way. Yes, chopped. Then there is Jace Batiste, I believe is a man also, who was struck with a stick. Like, come
That's
on.
in Georgetown, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like come on, do better than that.
I I should I? You know, every incident has a backstory to it.
True.
And I think we're also forgetting Nurse Taylor. She was also Cuban, married to Vincent Chan,
Oh, yeah.
right? Now, I think people just need to be more tolerant, point blank, no matter the nationality. And I say that because it is not nice to attack people point blank and to harm
Agreed.
people, to burn their vehicles, to murder them.
Ag- Agreed.
It's not nice at all. And I know people will feel more emotional if it's a foreigner because it's not something that is common. In the same light, we have or we are becoming a bit more desensitized because of the rate at which it is happening to our locals. But across the board, point blank, we need to look at crime across the board. And I know that there are some folks within our society who would talk about it when it happens to a foreigner and be upset, but when it happens to a local, numb. Violence is violence, crime is crime. This could have happened when they were back in Cuba. It could have happened in another country. It really doesn't matter.
And it could also happen to Vincent in another country. Crime happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vincentians, up to recently, Vincentian was shot in Canada, shot and killed in Canada, a drive-by shooting. It happens all over. So the issue is crime, point blank.
Or the escalation of it in our local context as well.
But no, my opinion is countries like Canada, tourism isn't at the forefront, really. Tourism isn't their top honor. And while crime on a whole is wrong, nobody should be attacking anybody. Where tourism is our bread and butter, we should be looking out for the non-nationals. We should be taking an extra step when it comes to tolerance, when it comes to the non-nationals, because we're a developing country. We're still trying to put our name on the map, and we don't want the first news that get out there. It's something negative, and people prefer the negative news. And people don't care about the truth once the lies are more entertaining. The negative news sells. So we really have to try our best to push the positive force.
Yeah, but even not just so much non-nationals as well, both of you have said, because the thing of it is that the overall statistics would include nationals and non-nationals.
So, yeah. So I'm saying across
yeah.
the board it's wrong, but I'm saying take an extra step with the foreigners.
You know what's funny? And you're not wrong because we're tourism centered. It's a major revenue earner for the country and so on and so forth. We have made major investments in this field. But look at it, like just take a step back and look at it. The focus is to protect folks who come in for 3 weeks versus to protect people who actually live here and
I
contribute
say across
to
the board.
I know that,
Yeah.
but you said more.
Yeah.
So foreigners are essentially, quote unquote, more protected.
I think he's looking at it from the angle of the media being put because
well, yeah,
you tend to
No,
find
that's why I
even,
say I don't think he's wrong.
right.
But if you take a step back and look at the reality of it, I live here 24/7.
Yeah.
But
because even though
No.
with what Ari is saying too, you've noticed that I think it was done with Barbados in particular. Their newspapers, the negative stories about the country don't make the front of the papers. right? I think well, at least that's what somebody told me. I need to
Someone
look this
told me that
myself,
as well.
right? It was further down because Barbados is so focused on tourism. Their income earner is heavily based on tourism. It's not what they want to have out there, as in directly in your face. In terms of when you hear about the country or when you read news about the country, or in terms of picking up a physical paper, right? So,
But I mean, does it,
Hmm.
in the grand scheme of things, America has had so many, like we say, mass shootings, but people still rush to go to the US. Their mass shootings are like
Yeah,
in
but
your
we
face.
not
Not
we,
I
we
though.
need to we can't
Yeah.
compare ourselves to the US.
I know, but in terms
And-
of like,
and-
okay, in terms of being turned off from wanting to go to a country.
that would be me, and not so much just the mass shootings that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the racial attacks, right? Especially by the police.
Oh, well, they
It's-
have some more
it's-
problems
it's-
then.
right? So for me as a
Wow.
Black person, I'm not saying that I'm writing off the US, but it's not necessarily on my to-do list as a person to
Well,
visit.
the US not the
Right.
only place. It have a lot of stabbings in the UK. There are a lot of violence. There's violence everywhere. But when we're tourism centered, because Taiwan also is tourism centered, although they have booming technology industry, they are also tourism centered. And in Taiwan, it is so safe, and the foreigners will tell you it is so safe. You can leave your wallet here and come back and meet your wallet with all the money. You leave your phone. If it's not there, it's at the nearest police station. But
I think
there,
I saw that on a TikTok video.
no, it is true. It is true. Very, very true. I've experienced it. It's very true. And Taiwan does have crime. It does have gangs, but the gangs, they don't even look at the foreigners. It's rare that you will find that the gangs attack a foreigner.
Mhm.
It's very, very rare.
But is it also tied to, do they have stiffer penalties for crime in
No,
general? Let's
that's
say
a
theft
good
and so
question.
forth?
I believe so because people always would tell me in Taiwan, "Hey, don't smoke weed. You'll go to jail. You can get a death penalty. It's very severe." And
Dr. Thompson was talking about that about another country as well.
yeah, so it is possible.
No,
It
there are
is
some
possible.
countries that I am not going to visit at all. 'Cause I don't know, boy. Just. But anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
So-
what time is it? We can take a break and come back.
So it is now 8:32. We're gonna take a break, pay some bills, and get right back to you.
I was looking for an